Hello everyone and welcome along to SUTV Live. The countdown to kick-off starts right here as the Blades head to the City Ground to Nottingham Forest, bidding to bounce back from Saturday's defeat to Blackpool. The best possible build-up starts right here. You can watch the game live with us from 7:45. All you need to do is to buy your match pass, and you can do that by going to the website sufc.co.uk. The lads are in the building and we are in the building here at Bramall Lane. Welcome along, good to have you with us once again. We're down by the banks of the Trent, or at least the team is, tonight to face Nottingham Forest. Can they get the right response after that defeat to Blackpool at the weekend? As ever, I'm joined by not one, but two guests. First up, a man who serves as both co-commentator and pundit on every game. Good evening, Kevin Gage. Does that mean you get paid twice?
Oh, well, good evening, Paul. Get paid twice. This is Sheffield United.
I've seen your car.
We're lucky to get paid once.
I've seen your car. I think you are getting paid twice. Good to have you with us, though. And alongside Kevin is another former Blades fullback. It's welcome back to Rob Coslock. Evening.
Good evening, Paul.
Right, we're going to crack straight on with the team news because that is now confirmed. I can tell you that Sheffield United make 3 changes tonight. In come Bogle, Basham and Brewster. Out, Baldock, Davis, who was suspected would miss out through injury, and Njai. Kevin Gage, your initial thoughts of that on those 3 alterations?
I'm pleased to see a couple of players back in. I mean, I like Bogle as a fullback, so I think he'll do a good job. And of course, is Basham, Chris Basham, Basham Barry himself, and he won't let anybody down. And we know what he's all about. He's going to slot in perfectly okay. Yeah, I mean it's a decent team. I'm disappointed, to be honest, that Njai isn't playing and isn't starting. Maybe it's to do with his fitness, because it's certainly nothing to do with his performance on Saturday, because he was absolutely superb on Saturday. So maybe just giving him a bit of a rest and maybe going with a bit more pace up front in Brewster. He's a completely different type of player from Njai, so it will give us a bit more direct thrust on that left-hand side or wherever he plays, Brewster. Maybe a bit more through the middle with Moose. So yeah, the bulk of the team is the same. Might be a slightly different formation as well. So we might be going a little bit 4-3-3-ish and not the 4-4-2. So we'll see how they line up.
Rob, we've had the discussion before about Ryan Brewster, and every time he does play, we're saying it is a big opportunity for him. So we're here again. What does he need to do tonight?
Yeah, I think Slavis has obviously put his boy back in the side. I mean, it's down to Brewster now. We need to see some of the best in it from him. He's got the pace, he's got everything that goes with it, and it's nights like this. It's a perfect night for him to start getting his tally on.
Basham's in for his first start since the end of August, Luton away. He's had to be patient this season. I think fans have been wanting to see him involved, haven't they? Such a popular figure in these parts, and you know what you're going to get from him. Old snake hips.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a superb defender. He's a superb player, full stop. Wherever he plays, he's going to put a performance in. He'll probably be on the right side, I would imagine, of Egan today. So he'll have to curb his attacking instincts. We won't see him flying up the pitch or anything. But yeah, I mean, he's also he's a good defender. He's a tall defender, so he'll win things in the air. But as you say, you know exactly what you get from Chris Basham. No worries whatsoever about him taking Davis's place.
We'll take a look back at some of the highlights from the Blackpool game shortly, Kevin. But you watched it. What were the good bits? What were the bad bits, in your view?
Well, I must be brutally honest. There were far more good bits than there were bad bits, and sometimes, you know, I question myself sometimes, because I call it as I see it during the commentary. And I was saying at half time, I said, that's some of the best football we've played this season. And we absolutely tore Blackpool apart. We got into some fantastic positions attacking wise, got right to the byline, deep in the penalty area, created some wonderful opportunities once again. And some of our attacking play in and around the penalty area, the Blackpool penalty area, was absolutely top class. It really was. So inventive, so creative. It's just that final pass or the final finish. That's what we're just lacking at the moment. It really was that good. And then the first 5-10 minutes of the second half, I haven't seen anything like that for a long, long time from a Sheffield United side, because we absolutely blitzed Blackpool and they were hanging on for dear life. You know, Gibbs Morgan White had a couple of chances. Moose hit the bar. There was shots and crosses flying in. It was wonderful to watch. and then we just kind of completely fell apart. It was really a strange game, and for the last 20 minutes we weren't at the races at all. Whether it's down to the substitutions or we kind of just blew ourselves out after the Blades tornado had hit them in the first half. It was a strange game, strange afternoon.
Rob, United always look like conceding a goal at the moment. Obviously that's something that needs to be addressed. Everybody knows that. As Kevin says though, United are playing really good in spells, creating chances, but by same token, they've got to score when they're on top, haven't they? Because that is putting undue pressure on the defence.
Yeah, I think that's what this championship's about, isn't it? You take your chances and you'll win games. But tonight, Slavisa's obviously seen that he's made a few changes. We don't know how players recover, and Dave had the 90 minutes, didn't he? So he's freshened things up. And again, but Forest have got decent strikers within there, so they'll have chances. They might put them away, but I do believe in tonight Brewster might come through.
This concession of goals, though, Kevin, it's got to stop, hasn't it? If United are serious about making a push for the playoffs, it has to stop. But where do they start in trying to stop it from happening? Because surely you can't just point at the back four.
No, you can't. I think there's been one or two individual mistakes. The goal we conceded on Saturday was ridiculous, to be honest. A hopeful punt from their keeper, and Egan's played everybody on side. Having said that, it was an absolutely world-class finish from the kid as well. That's your shot that goes in 1 in 50 or 1 in 70, goes in the top corner. And if De Bruyne or Ronaldo had scored it, we'd be saying, "Oh my God, that's world-class." So we do need to tighten up. Everybody can see that. I think our goalkeeper is taking time to settle. He's made a couple of decent saves in the last few weeks, so I think he's getting there at the moment. So that's always difficult for a keeper to come in and to work with his back four. I think we've been spoilt in the past, haven't we? We've been spoilt with strong Sheffield United defences, and to let in a few goals is a bit of a shock to the system. I know Slav is probably more of an attacking type manager. I think his emphasis is always going to be on the creative side rather than defensive side. But it would be nice to see us improve on. I think it's 3 clean sheets we've had, which is poor, really. For a team with ambitions to be climbing up the league and getting into the auto promotions or at least the top 6.
And what of Forest? Because they are a very different proposition now to what they were 6-7 weeks ago, since Steve Cooper's gone in there, and I've been doing a bit of digging on the Forest team today. And every time you type a Forest player's name into your search engine, it comes back with enjoying a renaissance, revitalised, come back roaring. He seems to have got players who were maybe short on confidence, unsure what their roles were, Rob, and he has reinvigorated that football club. Why do you think he's been able to do that? How has he done it?
I saw a lot of Forest under Houghton, and towards the end I think a lot of their main men, of your Grabhams, your Jollies and that, they had down tools. I mean, you can see there, look, the stats on screen, that these boys had almost gave up themselves. So when a new manager comes in, it's the honeymoon period, but they will have a tendency to slip back into those ways if things don't start going the way. But at this moment in time, like you say, Cooper's gave them that chance to revitalise themselves, and there's a few of the players are actually taking it.
Yeah, and you listen to players speak about his style of play, his philosophy. They all talk about they're enjoying themselves again, and the stats bear that out. 7 games, 4 wins, 2 draws, only 1 defeat. Forest have actually got an identical record to Sheffield United at the moment. We know about his success at Swansea. He did a fabulous job there. You can see on the league table this crazy division that we find ourselves in. United 17th, Forest 18th, yet only 6 points off the top 6.
Yeah,
bonkers, isn't it?
We mentioned that Saturday. We said the same thing, because everybody seems to be able to beat everybody else in this division, don't they? There's only
apart from Bournemouth.
Yeah, I was going to say Bournemouth running away a bit and trying to be caught, maybe by Fulham, who look a class above as well. But it's all much of a muchness, isn't it, at the moment? As Blackpool, Millwall, and others have proved down here. So if anybody keeps saying it, but if anybody does put a run together, they could be up there.
So what are you looking for out of this game and the Blackburn game before the next international break?
Well, 6 points would be absolutely superb, wouldn't it?
It'd do all right, wouldn't
it? But being slightly more realistic, I'd basically just like to see us being a little bit more clinical. I think sometimes, as much as I like watching us, we do try and overplay at times and try and walk the ball into the goal, and maybe we need to be a little bit more direct. But then, having said that, our side at the moment, how it's based and how it's formed, is not built to be physical and more direct. It is built to accommodate the likes of Njai and Gibbs-White and others, and Osborn, you know, who flit around and do their bits and bobs all around it. It's very, very inventive and creative. So maybe we need a little bit more force behind us as well.
Rob, what about you? You'll have played in seasons where international breaks come along and it disrupts the season. You do not want to go into an international break on a bad run of form, do you? It's a long wait until you get a chance to put it right.
Yeah, well, it gives you the chance whether to put it right or whether to put if things are wrong. So it does have its pros and cons, the international break. But looking at Sheffield tonight, I mean, away at the City Ground, if you can get KG goes 6, I'm saying 4 would be great, and then you build on momentum, because going in there, don't forget, on equal points and everything on the board, it's 2 similar sides.
Okay, more from the chaps to come. Don't forget, you can watch the game with us live from 7:45. You need to get your match pass though. All you need to do is go to the website sufc.co.uk. So, question is, can Sheffield United get the right response at Forest tonight after that defeat against Blackpool at the weekend? Here's a look back at some of the highlights.
It's Blackpool who get this Sky Bet Championship fixture underway. Stevens with a throw into Iliman Njai. Gibbs-White. Osborn lays off to Fleck. Brings Nord into play. Well worth a go from Ollie Norwood. The former Blackpool loanee. John Fleck will take a short corner for Sheffield United. Chance to put it in the box now. It's a decent ball. Njai coming in! And Iliman Njai's there! Well, we thought he was there. The flag has been raised. Good delivery by Bowler, and the save by Olsen. Had to dive late, he was expecting the touch, and in the end I think you've got to put it out as a very good save. Now Njai, that's a lovely bit of play from Iliman Njai, cuts it back, Mousse! Really good chance for Sheffield United. And Mousse, I think maybe a tad disappointed, didn't get a better connection there. Gibbs-White looking for Njai, first time! Wonderful play by the Blades. How close is that from Iliman Njai, but what a pass. What about this for a start to the second half? George Bullock down the right-hand side. United almost catching Blackpool cold there. Still with Morgan Gibbs-White. Just too close to the goalkeeper. Here's Stevens. Chance for Gibbs-White! That's a wonderful save. We were just saying we'd like to see the keeper tested a little bit more. Gibbs-White, can he get it through to Mousse? Crashes the shot against the bar. Sheffield United very much in the ascendancy. Njai for Gibbs-White, another chance, a difficult one, but the Wolves loanee fires it wide. Free kick floated into the Sheffield United penalty area. McGoldrick with a really good defensive clearance. Shot comes in, decent try, and a wonderful save from Olsen to deny Sonny Carey. Flag stays down. Keshi Anderson inside the penalty area. Anderson, wonderful finish for all Sheffield United's opportunities. Blackpool have taken the lead, and it's Keshi Anderson with 15 minutes remaining. Blades 0, Blackpool 1.
Yes, it was the classic sucker punch, wasn't it, Kevin Gage? That on Saturday. Just you don't realise how many chances Sheffield United had until you see the highlights back like that. There were so many.
And what you don't see on just the highlights there is the times that we got in right behind them, right to the goal line, deep inside the penalty area, and tried to cut the ball back and just made the wrong decision. It was cut out. But we did actually get into some fantastic positions, you know, to really hurt them and create more chances. And as I say, just the final ball was lacking. But even there, just watching the general highlights, there's 6 or 7 really good opportunities that went begging, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's one important stat at the end of every game, and it's the scoreline. But if you just look at some of the other stats from that performance, they've just bossed it in every area. Well, truly bossed it in every area.
we're used to Sheffield United having the majority of possession, so sometimes it's a lot more than that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, you look to 15, 20 if you get 20 shots a game, you've had a very good game, you've had a dominant game. So 15's up there, to be honest. But as I say, they're just the ones that we actually took. There was opportunities to get behind the defence and play a better pass across or a better final ball, which would have resulted in another 10 shots. You know, had we performed that function or that task better. But everything else is kind of much for muchness. The one at the bottom's controversial sometimes. Expected goals is a bit.
It's not one of my favourites. I've got to be honest. It's a bit
ridiculous, isn't it, at times? But it's not a true reflection. You know, the shots and maybe the crosses is telling as well. You know, because everybody thinks of a cross as being like a high loopy cross. You know, from a deep angle. Yeah. Sometimes you're pulling it back 10 yards for the penalty spot. That's a cross. Is it a cross or a pass? You know, who's to say?
Rob, I bet you're a dealer in XG, aren't you?
Expected goals, no, really. I mean, seeing the total shots there, 15, and when you some days you don't even get one shot, is remarkable, isn't it? And Gagey spoke earlier about decisions in the final third, composure in front of goal, it all comes into it, and then that Keshi Anderson cuts inside, and probably never score one like it again.
When you see the defending on the goal like that, what are your first thoughts on it? Just a hopeful punt downfield as it was.
I think in the DNA of Sheffield United, it doesn't really happen. It shouldn't really happen, should it? Here within that, so we'd not allow that to happen under any manager. So they'll be very disappointed in how it's happened.
One big positive from that game was a certain young man by the name of Iliman Ndiaye, who starts on the bench tonight, but we've raved about him all season, haven't we? I mean, Kevin, just give us your thoughts and your appraisal on what you've made of this young fella up this season.
I genuinely think he's absolutely wonderful. You know, I'm in raptures about him. I think he's fabulous, a fabulous all-round footballer. He just seems to be getting stronger and better, and he's added a little bit of physicality to his game as well. He's got a low centre of gravity, so he's very difficult to shake off the ball. But I like the way he uses his arms very well. He uses his body very well to fend people off. He's come in and from nowhere really. Nobody kind of knew about him. I think a few people at the club were aware of his ability, and then he's come in at the start of the season or just after the start of the season, just blown everybody away with his ability and his goals. Very unlucky to be flagged offside on Saturday, which would have been a great start for us, and I think we'd have gone on and won the game comfortably had that goal been allowed. But he gets in these spaces behind. In front of the back four and in the space between the back four and the midfield, and he just floats about there, and he's brilliant at picking up the ball and getting on the half turn and then running at the defenders. Wonderful to watch, really is.
Can't recall too many players like him at Sheffield United down the years. Rob, does he remind you of anybody that you've seen or come up against in the past?
I think when you look at those style of players that Sheffield's had in the past, I can only probably think that Tongs had the same ability and
fair point.
Forward thinking, forward movements and all that, and Jai gets into some excellent positions, doesn't he, and he'll be a force in the Championship. So to not see him starting tonight, disappointing, but Slavisa will have his opinions why.
Maybe when Forest tire, perhaps he'd chuck him on from the bench.
Yeah, brilliant impact sub. But of course, if you bring him on later in the game, there potentially will be a bit more space for him to operate in. So yeah, he's a fantastic substitute to bring on at a later stage.
Great attitude as well. You know, the confidence, the swagger in which he plays. Playing in front of 30,000 fans or so every week just does not faze him whatsoever, does it?
He plays he's a free spirit, isn't he? You can see it. That's the way he plays. He's just abandonment. I think he'd play the same if he was on a park, on the Sunday morning. He's one of those type players. But you mentioned his attitude. What I also picked up in commentary is his defending, because he's in the number 10 floating role, and he will track back and try and win the ball from the opposite midfielders, so he's always trying to hunt the ball down or just trying to get a toe in to win the ball back. Enthusiasm is fantastic.
Right, so we've had the thoughts of Kevin and Rob in the wake of that defeat to Blackpool. Let's get the post-match thoughts now of the manager, Slaviša Jokanović.
Up until the goal, your side created so many good opportunities. On another day, your side could have been 2, 3, even 4 up by that time.
Yes, it's true. Sometimes it's in the football, it's or you are not clinical, or some defensive mistakes where you after defeat is always looking where is our our mistake. We didn't make it a lot today, but this one was really hard for us. And after that, we didn't be able from change our story.
I understand it's obviously very disappointing, but for 70 minutes, some of the football you played, your side were doing so well. You must take some positives from that going forward.
No, of course, this is part of the life, and this is part of the football. And for another side, it's part of our season. Don't happen as first time. I must stay with this 70 few minutes and encourage my player for trust. If we are really combined and if we want to play, we can create the chances. And if we are playing in opposite side, is probably we can stay without give any opportunity for the opposite team. This happened today in Bramall, but unfortunately is frustrated finish for us, and we are stay with 1 point with points one time more.
No time to dwell, of course. 2 games on the horizon. I know you'll pick the players up and have them going again for Tuesday night against Nottingham Forest now.
Okay, this is our job. We need to be brave, show our responsibility, and try play our game. Just it is. We are choice some way for try play the football. This way at the moment don't give us enough good result, enough points. We are of course we are disappointed, but we need to stand up, be brave, and start working tomorrow for prepare our next game.
He's always very calm and measured in his post-match interviews, is Slaviša Jokanovic, but just how frustrated a manager will he be just now, Rob?
I think he talks about wanting to put things right, so he was probably happy with the performance, but games come thick and fast, don't they, in the Championship? So he's got tonight and then to put things right, which he just mentioned. If you guys can start putting subtitles on there, will help a lot of viewers. It's like Sean Dyche, foreign Sean Dyche. Can't tell what he's saying. But
15 games in is a good time to kind of look at what he's been able to do so far, Kevin. So how would you analyse what he's brought to the table so far?
Well, results-wise, it hasn't been fantastic. But he came out in the press today, or his press conference yesterday, and I was pleased to see that he wasn't getting too. He's not getting too worried about the actual performances. The results. I've always been of the mantra: you get the performances right, and the results should take care of themselves. It's common sense, really. And I've been banging on all season, that we're not a bad side. So surely, at some stage, we must be getting the results, or we will be getting the results that our performances have deserved. Because I don't think that's been the case in the past 6 weeks or so. I think he's got faith in his players, and I think the players are happy with him and have faith in him. To be honest, his track record says that we have to believe in him. We have to have faith in him. He knows how to get out of this division. So I've no doubt that we will climb the league. Whether we're leaving it a bit too late to get the points on the board, we're going to have to go on a hell of a run to get right up there. I think the top 2 might be away and gone by that stage, but certainly top 6 is hugely achievable.
Well, still to come ahead of kick-off, we'll hear more from Slaviša Jokanovic, and we'll chat to Ben Osborn as well as he returns to one of his former clubs tonight. But for the next few minutes, we're going to break off and have a look at the next generation here at Sheffield United, the under-23s who are flying at the moment, second in the table, and they made it 4 wins on the spin last night with victory over that lot from over there.
Maguire, good feet, finds Starbuck, takes it in his stride, 3 in the box for United here. Deep towards Slater, first time! What a finish! Regan Slater! What about that? Brilliant work down the right-hand side by Starbuck, and then Slater, first time into the corner. You're not going to see much better than that at this level. 9 minutes gone, it's Blades 1, Wednesday 0. Here is Frankie Maguire, lifts one into the right channel. Hackford will chase for Sheffield United. Good hold-up play from Hackford, a good ball into Maguire. Nice feet from Frankie Maguire into the penalty area. This is brilliant from Frankie Maguire! Brilliant from the Blades skipper. United double their advantage. And another terrific individual goal This time it's Maguire with a run inside the penalty area, guides it into the bottom right corner. Another slick finish, and it's Sheffield United 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. I think it's his first start for the 23s this season. Was come off the bench recently. Oh, that's a mistake by the goalkeeper, and that's a third for Sheffield United. It's Angelo Capello. Surely that's game, set and match now. The goalkeeper caught out with the clearance, and Angelo Capello makes it Sheffield United 3, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Yeah, so a big win for the under-23s there. In a moment, we'll hear from one of the goal scorers from last night, Frankie Maguire. But first, let's hear from the manager, Paul Heckingbottom, on what was a pleasing night overall.
Yeah, listen, I thought we were by far the better team, but we weren't at his best. The one real moment of quality was a fantastic goal by Regan. Good play, which got joined down the right, a good cross, an excellent finish. But it weren't so much with the ball that frustrated me. We weren't as intense in how we wanted to win the ball back. Second half we were, and we got his rewards, you know, because I still thought we could have been much better with the ball, but without the ball we were excellent and sort of smothered Wednesday. So yeah, they had nowhere to go, and it just became one-sided.
It's always good to play at the Lane, and especially in the derby. Good spectators, good crowd, and the boys seem to just perform better today under pressure.
Yeah, you must be pretty pleased with that goal as well. Second half, nice moment, and pretty passionate celebration as well.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've scored, so I'm trying a lot in training, and I've not scored for a while, so I was due a goal today.
In games like this, naturally there's a different feel. It's a derby, it's at Bramall Lane, more friends and family at the game, everyone's talking about it. So there is a different buzz. So we use that opportunity to try and make it a bigger game. So it's something the players experience, and yeah, that was certainly a factor. But that's what we want to do. We want them to get those feelings here, make those errors here, those mistakes, and then to learn from them, and they're stronger and hopefully a little bit wiser when they get in the first team.
It's always a learning curve being a captain, because you're always given tasks and objectives to do and help the team. So it's something good for me.
Yeah, so a good night for the under-23s. Kevin, you watched this game, didn't you?
Yes, myself and Matt did a bit of commentary. Yeah, very impressive. The second time I've seen them in the last month. They actually played better against Coventry, who were top of the league. So they played more than well enough to beat Wednesday last night. But yeah, there's some really good performances. There's some good young players coming through. We've also got quite a few of the team out on loan at various clubs, so it's not even the strongest side. But there was some real quality on show, especially as you saw there with the two goals from Frankie Maguire himself in the interview, and also Slater, beautifully taken goals. And that was the difference between the sides, really. We were a little bit more technically better than Sheffield Wednesday.
Yes, who were the standout players? Regan Slater, we know all about. He's had a taste of first team football. Anybody else?
There's two centre halves. I can't remember the names.
You're looking towards Matt now, aren't you?
Yeah, I need my commentator mate alongside me. But two centre halves didn't give anything away. One of them, we were actually talking about previous Forest games, but he actually reminded me of Des Walker, because he just cleans up everything. Nothing got past him, and he just covered the other centre half and just cleared everything out. And they're all very good athletes. All the back four actually very, very good athletes, and they're all physically strong as well. Big, imposing players. And there's the number 6 in midfield, Neil. He's a bit Roy Keane-ish. I mean, that's a high praise indeed. But he just keeps things moving and ticking over. He gets his foot in. He's always available for the ball. He keeps it simple at times. Just a really good, solid all-round midfielder.
Well, this is all sounding very, very positive, Rob, isn't it? A good undercurrent of youngsters coming through. Iliman Njai, I mean, I guess they're all looking at him, aren't they, saying, well, if he can do it, so can we.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you talk about your Slaters and that, but Harrison Neal, like Gagey just said, in the middle of the park. I think he's on about Kyron Gordon at the back. So there's some excellent young kids coming through. Heckingbottom's got them playing really well. So mind the gap Wednesday.
Mind the gap indeed. But you've worked with under-23 teams before a lot. Is it difficult to try and put them on that pathway to a first team?
I think it's good development on nights like this, playing in the stadiums, giving them that atmosphere, and that into even Brunt's gone out, hasn't he? So your players go and get different expectations elsewhere, and then they come back better players. But having seen last night's performance 3-0, it stands in good stead for the 23s.
Very good indeed. Right, back to the here and now. Let's remind you of the team news from the City Ground. Our main event tonight, Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United. Let's start with the home team. A couple of changes for Forest tonight. Garner and Taylor are in. Max Lowe drops out. Obviously can't face Sheffield United with them being his parent club. He's on loan there. And Lewis Grabban drops out as well. We are expecting Forest to stick with 3-4-3, which is what Steve Cooper's brought in since he's took over. And we were wondering who might play the left wing-back role, and we're hearing that Jack Colback might actually play at left wing-back tonight. We'll see how that develops. So that's Forest team. As for Sheffield United, 3 changes. The players coming in, Bogle, Basham and Brewster. And again, not totally sure on Sheffield United's formation, but Kevin, I think you're leaning towards 4-3-3, aren't you? You would think so, yeah. What we do have this evening is pace, of course. We've got Brewster's pace, we've got Mousset's pace. Gibbs White is not slow by any stretch of the imagination. So I think if we push up against their 3 centre halves, hopefully we can get the ball forward and cause them problems. I mentioned maybe being a little bit more direct. Maybe this is the night to do that, because Forest do like to have a lot of possession. So maybe if they are starting to have a little bit more possession than us, we might have the opportunity to get down the side of them and get in the channels and be one-on-one with some of their defenders. Key man for United tonight, Rob, who would you pick out?
I'm looking forward to see Brewster, because he's got to be given a chance and he's got to take the chances, hasn't he, when he comes. So Slavisa's put his trust in him, and let's hope he can reward us.
Fingers crossed indeed. Now, Ben Osborn, of course, is returning to his former club tonight. He started in Derby's academy, got released from there, moved to Nottingham Forest. Really well liked during his time at the City Ground. Very popular here, of course. Let's hear from him now, shall we? Starting with Saturday's defeat to Blackpool.
I thought we played quite well at times, but that cutting edge, and it's part of football. It's expected to look all over the country when teams aren't getting results. Fans can voice their opinions loudly. It happened all over the weekend. It's happened loads of times in my career, unfortunately. But we've got to deal with it. I think we've got to deal with that a bit better as well. And we've got to give the fans something to shout about, as well as rather than sort of expecting them to kind of push us on, because it's just football. We've got to deal with it.
There's no malaise, is there? Because it'd be very easy to look at last season and think this is just an extension of what happened last year.
No, not at all. But I think maybe there might be a part of the mentality where, recently when we've conceded, we've kind of not looked great. We look okay until we concede, and that is something that happened last year. Maybe there's something in that. But like I say, we've been looking at it, and we've gone through a few things today, and there's clear things we can improve on, and hopefully fans will be able to see that on Tuesday night.
And your old club, they've had an interesting last few years, but what do you expect from them?
Yeah, I think it'll be a tough game. They seem to have settled on a formation 3-4-3 now, and they're pretty hard to beat, play some good stuff. They've got players that can take people on and hurt you, so we've got to manage their more dangerous players, and then I think we've got to be at the top of our game, but I'm confident we can go there and get a win.
And a reminder, you can watch the game live with us from 7:45. You'll get enhanced 4-camera coverage. You'll get all the replays, all the stats, everything. You can't wish for any more. Go and get your match pass from the website sufc.co.uk. Hearing from Ben Osborn there, Rob Coslock, and I mentioned in the intro that he got released by Derby, which would have been a huge blow to him personally, but he went to Forest and he's made a really good career for himself since then.
Yeah, I think you can add Osborn to a long list of players that have been released at Derby that have gone on to fulfil the potential in the later years. So, academy managers making decisions, aren't they, on youngsters nowadays? Probably needs to have somebody with a better opinion on players making these decisions, but somebody's loss is somebody's rewards.
Absolutely. He's very popular here, isn't he, Kevin? You know what you're going to get, 100%er, week in, week out, whether he's playing on the left or in midfield or off the front, wherever he's played.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us would have had him down at the start of the season to be a first team regular, but he's one of the first names on the team sheet because he's just fitted in beautifully, and he's got a great understanding. He's developed a great understanding with Fleck and Ender Stevens, all left-footed. They play some lovely triangles down that left side, and they as I mentioned on Saturday, that time and time again getting in down behind the defence. He's added a few goals to his game as well, which is nice to see because obviously he's in an attacking role as opposed to a defensive role where he first started here. So yeah, he's Mr. Consistent. I'm pleased he's playing tonight actually. It'll be good for him to go back to Forest, his ex-club, full of confidence and a mainstay in the Sheffield United side.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get good reception there as well. He spent 6 years, I think, at the City Ground, and he was always well thought of there. Talking of Forest, we mentioned earlier on, identical record, same number of points, etc., etc. It's a big game for both clubs, isn't it? We're focusing on Sheffield United naturally, but big game for both. Yes, it's a local-ish derby, isn't it? Yeah. So they'll be up for it. And I think, if memory serves me correct, they got absolutely hammered, didn't they, the last home game? Fulham. I think Fulham beat them 4-0 or something. So, I mean, they're coming off the back of that. So they will be flying out tonight. Of course they will, yeah. They'll be acutely aware that we haven't had a great run of results, so they'll be thinking there's something here for us tonight. Well, Forest have only won once at home this season, but this is always a fixture that takes me back to the playoffs. Robbie, you were part of that incredible campaign, weren't you, 2003? Yeah. A 1-1 draw, I think it was, at their place, and we all know what happened here.
That's just a magic night, wasn't it? I mean, for somebody like yourself on the radio, I mean, amazing. Sat there just talking whatever.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But for you, significant, that game. Why?
Well, I've just bored the people in the air. I'm going to bore the viewers. But,
do it.
Tilia tonight, my daughter, she's sat behind the camera, but it was 18 years ago, wasn't it, to the day. She was born that night of that game. Wow. Of that morning, obviously, and I came to the game. Didn't tell Warnock I'd been in the hospital all morning. I'm telling you now, Neil, that I was.
Why not?
Because he would have not played me at all.
Really? Why? Why would he not have played
I just think if you disrupted his preparation in any way, he had an excuse. So I didn't tell him. I just turned up at Bramall Lane, did my thing, and then went back to the hospital.
He must have been absolutely buzzing that night then.
Oh God, yeah, the adrenaline running through. I mean, the fans here, weren't it, on a special night like that? It had the makings, and it did, of everything. Still
remains to the day one of the best games that I've had the pleasure of covering live, and just watching live. It had everything, the drama, 2-0 down at half-time, thinking it was all dead, and then coming back in the way that Sheffield United did. But we'll not mention the final. Okay, we'll leave the final alone. That's for another day entirely. We are building up to kick off at the City Ground, which is roughly about 7 minutes away. Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United, and hopefully you're watching it with us here. We'll have all of the first half highlights at the break as well. We'll run through all of that. But just a reminder of what's coming your way. On Saturday, Sheffield United head to Ewood Park to face Blackburn. Richard Graves joined by Brian Dean and Kevin for that one. And something very special on the horizon as well. An evening with somebody who goes by the name of Tony Curry, who was a half-decent player, I'm told, back in the day. A legend, of course. To help launch his new autobiography, Imperfect 10, the man behind the magic, here at Bramall Lane, November the 12th, in the Platinum Suite. You can get tickets now, 30 quid. You get pie and peas, and also some very special guests along the way. I'm told Tony Kenworthy and Ted Helmsley are on the list to be joining Tony there as well. So if you can get yourself down, you're in for a very special night indeed. You can get a picture with a great man and an autograph, and a good night to be had by all, I think, ahead of that one. Right, back to matters in hand then. Sheffield United away to Forest. Let's hear more from the Sheffield United manager Slaviša Jokanović ahead of their trip to the City Ground.
The quality that you are showing, just how well at the moment are Iliman Ndiaye and Morgan Gibbs-White performing for you?
They perform well, I believe, with some kind of the improvement is coming where we start use these two guys. For another side is two really young players. Sometimes I expect from their side do something a little bit more similar, more simple things. Is more complicated in the football. Is play simple. Sometimes is they are touched the ball so many times in some situation. I believe they can play still better football, but it's we can say it's one of the players in best form can be these two players what you mentioned before.
That's Slaviša Jokanovic, so Sheffield United down at the City Ground. Rob Kozluk, what are you thinking tonight? How do you see this one playing out?
I always enjoyed going to the City Ground on nights like this and to the atmosphere and everything that comes with it. So Sheffield United going into this one, I don't see a problem. If we can, like you say, there's plenty of positives to go from the Blackpool game, even though it was a defeat, but plenty to work on, put some chances away.
And they are a team who want to play football, which might in turn suit Sheffield United. I wouldn't expect it to be a physical battle as such. Steve Cooper wants them to get down and play, doesn't it?
Yeah, the interesting one will be where you mentioned Colback does play, don't you? Whether he plays on that left side, but what happens is he comes with reliability. Colback does wherever he plays, that little bit of experience. So when we think, oh, we might get Gibbs White at him for 60 minutes, he might be able to deal with him, but it'll be something minimal that Colback will switch off when you are played out of position.
Yeah, who are the threats for Forest as you see it? I mean, Joe Lolly, we know the ability he's got. I think a couple of seasons ago in particular, he was on fire, Joe Lolly, and then he dropped off and maybe wasn't being used in quite the same way by Chris Hughton. But again, just one of many players that Steve Cooper seems to be getting back in the groove again.
Yeah, he was one of the players that you mentioned down in tools under Chris Hughton, and whether or not he's obviously got the confidence now of the Cooper coming in. But they've got players on the night that can win them games. But looking at it, serve Sheffield United, so it's a good one.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson, do you know much about him? Obviously, we know his dad, David Johnson, who was here for a short spell. He had 4 games, I think. Do you know much about him?
Yeah, I still speak to Jono quite a lot, and I went to watch Brennan quite a lot at Lincoln last year.
He was brilliant there, wasn't he?
Where he was on loan. He bounced off Morgan Rogers as well, didn't he, from City? So they both had great seasons, and he finds himself back now at the City Ground. They've done well to hold on to him in the last window because there was a few clubs rumoured to be looking and abroad, which they do attract, don't they, nowadays?
Yeah.
So they've got him for another window, so he's doing well.
And Steve Cooper obviously comes with a reputation of being very good with young players, because we know what he did with England, didn't we, winning the Under-17s World Cup. So he's going to learn a lot from someone like him, surely.
I think that's the only influence that Forest have kept on to a Brennan Johnson, with a Cooper coming in. So at the same time, he's going to get the games, and then he's going to just put his fee up if he carries on doing what he's doing.
Quick prediction then?
With the predictions nowadays and what's happened with Till sat there, 1-1.
1-1 Rob Kozluk is going for. We shall see. Rob will be back with me at half-time to look through the events of the first half, and taking you through that, as ever, your commentary team, the former Blades defender Kevin Gage, alongside Matt Young. It's all yours, fellas.